and welcome back to yet another one of my videos. Right, the Monza build is coming on really well. So today we're going to drop the clutch in and hopefully put the side case in and the cover back on, and it's all completed. We did have a kerfuffle with the Kickstart, and I'll just talk you through that one a little bit later. Right, we fitted a new Kickstart shaft in, but we found that the spring kept riding up over here, and that's going to obviously obstruct our clutch and sort of wear on a clutch. I've seen it's happened loads of times before. So what I've done is I've done this various times on some engines where you just put a tab in this position here, and this holds the spring down, and then you've eliminated that problem. So our AF easy clutch is in, Kickstart's in, buffer's on, the ramp's on, everything looking good, so this is ready to go back together. Right, we're putting the clutch together. It's a 6-plate BGM clutch, and we're going to use the 10LX springs, which is the medium grade spring for this clutch. I find that the green ones, lightweight ones, are really just not man enough for the job on most scooters. If you want to put a 6-plate in with practically a standard engine, they probably do you, but mediums seem to do more or less everything. Very rarely have to go to the strong springs. They're just too much. They're just overkill. You need 40 brake horsepower for them. So these are great. These will do between 20 brake to 40 brake. Fine. So we're fitting them. Okay, we've got the BGM spring holding tool that goes into your top plate like that. That now holds all your springs, so you can load your springs up on it. They do these holding tools for normal clutches as well, but this one's got 10 springs, and the last two go with these bolts that are supplied with the kit. And these bolts actually compress your clutch as well at the same time. So you don't need a clutch compressing tool. This clutch does it itself. Okay, this is the one with the threads. There's two threaded holes on here. So we'll just line it up, drop it in place, and then screw these in. Okay, we've got a spanner. We did have a little mistake there, if anybody noticed it. It's been corrected. You might pick it up in the video, but it's just something I forgot. Happens all the time. So this just winds in. We can get rid of that now because the springs are all held in place. Give these a little bit of a locate, because they don't always sit in there properly. It's best to make sure all your springs are located in the little slots properly by giving them a little tweak, a little bend, because otherwise it'll pressurise one side more than the other and you'll get a draggy clutch. Your springs all have to be under the same tension. Okay, better carry on. That's it, pretty well all the way down to the bottom. That one wasn't in, was it? Miles out. You've really got to check them, double check them. Right, so now we're going to put the clutch plates in. Okay. Now when the clutch is fully down, it's flush at the bottom here. So it's best to put, you can put the tab, one with the bent tabs, with the bent tabs facing up in the bottom. Because otherwise the clutch can bottom out in the basket. So one clutch plate, one friction plate, another clutch plate, steel, clutch, all the way through till you run out of plates. Now a top one on. Just give that a little tap down. They are quite a precise fit, so they're almost a knock-on fit. And last but not least, the retaining clip. It's also got little holes here for circlip pliers if you want to use circlip pliers, but they pretty well go in easily by hand. So always make sure the joint is over a notch, because that will retain the clip in better and safer. So there's our joint over a notch. Oh, it's moved a little bit, so we're going to have to tap it around. Okay. Right. That is then in, and we can now take off the compressing tool. And now, the two that we've compressed, we'll check the springs to see if they're in position. And one more time, all the way around. And we found one that needed to move. Okay, that's it, fitted. Well, this is my first video of 2024, so I'm going to have to do a new intro and everything because that's still got 2023 on it. But anyway, this cylinder, this Super Monza, I got it directly from Tino Sacchi, and Tino picked this one out for me personally. He went through it, personally checked it over, then it came straight to me. Thanks very much, Tino. It's a fantastic barrel. I'm really impressed with it. What I can't believe is why this barrel was never more popular. I mean, Charlie Edmonds did really well at Alcaraz with it. He just tanned the floor with everybody. But why wasn't that promoted enough? Why wasn't that just promoted everywhere? You know, fastest scooter in Europe in an endurance race, and then promoted it. I don't understand, because it is a great barrel. Weird. Right, I fitted our gaskets on. I'm actually using 2 side casing gaskets. That just helps to give us a bit better clearance on the kickstart, rubbing on the clutch or anything, any possibility like that. gives you a little bit more clearance, and it just makes for a better seal. And I'm not skimping on the price of a gasket. You know, I put 2 on. I'm doing that on all my bikes now. Don't even bother. 1 gasket's just not enough. If the gaskets were actually made better quality and thicker, a little bit thicker, they would be good, but they don't. They just skimp a little bit. Don't know why. And then somebody's going to comment and say, oh no, 0.8 of a mil's plenty enough for a gasket. And I'm like, no. You try and look at a Yamaha gasket or a Kawasaki gasket and the quality's far better. These actually aren't too bad. From some of them I've seen, they're just like paper and they're absolute rubbish. But these have been probably the best gasket I've used for a while so far. It's quite good quality, but I still use 2. Just go for 2 gaskets, gives you better clearance on the casing. It just gives a better seal, because if it's a little bit, casings aren't absolutely perfectly true, for sure. And they do tend to distort a little bit when you bolt up. And the gasket facing particularly wide on Lambretta casing either. So 2 gaskets just takes up that, it gives it that little bit more give to take up that any gaps and make a better seal. So I always go for 2. been overlooked over the years by lots of tuners who are mad about tuning things up, but the engine's just getting hotter and hotter. Every time you increase brake horsepower, you increase heat, because power is energy. Every time you make more power, you make more energy, and energy is simply heat, and that heat has to be dissipated. So the more you tune your engine, the hotter the engine will get, because it's simply a law of physics. If you create energy, you create heat. It's as simple as that. So I've developed my Cowlings on the racetrack in endurance racing, so it's not a quarter of a mile, get to the end of the track and that's it, your engine hasn't started to overheat then. In endurance racing, it really is important to keep the engine cool, because a cooler engine maintains the brake horsepower. So you can lose 20% of your brake horsepower through overheating the engine. It's not seizing up, but the engine has gone out of its temperature range where it performs correctly. Now you want to be sitting between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius. That is the optimum for performance. That's what Grand Prix bikes are set at. In the old 500s, they were running everything at about 70 degrees Celsius, liquid cooled, and that's where they made the best power. So we can't get that. It's really, really difficult. We're going to end up going up to 100, 120, and straight away we are losing power, but we can control it and try not to lose too much. So keep the temperature down, you will maintain power. You will also decrease wear on the engine and maintain better reliability. Hot engines, bolts come loose, everything stretches, head bolts are forced to come loose, everything expands. With the hotter the engine, the more the metal expands, therefore you're stretching bolts, things come loose, head gaskets leak. It's just one thing after the other. So cooler engines are just more reliable. When you're fitting Cowlings, no matter what Cowlings you're fitting on a Lambretta, you've always got to look for important things such as clearances. Now, the cover to the fan should be as close a fit as you possibly can get, okay, without it actually touching. This will then suck more air. Maximum efficiency is to keep the cover as close to the fan as possible, and that will then maximize the suction, because these fans are basically, they create a low pressure in the middle and then blow the air around the outside. So if there's a gap here, they can't create that low pressure zone so well. So it has to be sucked into the center and blown out. So it's creating a low pressure. As the air gets displaced outwards, it creates more low pressure in the middle and more air is sucked in. So as well, mine, I've got a bell mouth on the front, that increases flow as well. I think up to about 20% extra air is flowed in with the proper cowling and the proper clearance. I've done a load of tests. If you want to look back over my videos from before, there is tests on airflow on Cowlings of different ones fitted to different engines, Indian, different flywheels, all sorts of stuff. I've done loads of tests. This is the best one by far, the WWM fan with my cowling. If you've got the cone in the centre, it's a little bit better. It's about 2%, not much, but that does, the cone does help to flow better into the fins as well. So centre cone, decent cowling, and always make sure you've got the minimum amount of gaps around the cowling to maintain as much air inside the cowling and being forced over the cylinder head and the barrel. So that's as much as I'm going to do in this video, guys. Thanks everybody for coming and watching my channel. It's really appreciated. I'd like to put big thanks out to Tino Sachi for this barrel, for supplying me this barrel, and Taylor Sturgis for all his help on the tuning work that's been involved. I'm not a master in tuning, I know quite a lot. I've done it for a good many years, but people with more knowledge, they're always out there, and it's always good to get their help. Thanks everybody, see you all later.